name's Wayne Heywood. I'm the senior coach and founder of the Ashton Albion Amateur Boxing Club, formerly the Olympic Amateur Boxing Club, as it was founded in 1991. For a club called Mosley Boys Amateur Boxing Club. I won a couple of area schoolboy titles, East Lancs, Cheshire, and North West Counties titles. Boxed up until the age of 16, 17, and then had a bit of a break and decided to start. Well, I didn't decide to. I got approached to start a club up, only for the simple reason I was actually doing a bit of training in the club, trying to get myself back in shape again. I'd let myself go a bit, obviously having the break from boxing, settling down, having kids, etc. Sort of drifted away for a while. Just started doing a bit of training in a gym in Ashton called the Olympic Gym, which is a weight training, powerlifting gym. They had a few bags up. I was knocking about on the bags, and I was approached off Bob Heaney and a guy called Mick Clegg, who's a former coach at Manchester United, who said, "Do you fancy setting a club up, get a bit of a club going?" The person who ran the gym at the time, Mick Clegg and Bob Heaney, they was actually in the process of organising a wrestling show at the old Tameside Theatre, and just for a bit of fun, they said, "Do you fancy putting on a bit of an exhibition? A bit of a sparring in it?" So it ended up me having a move round with a guy called Mick Clegg, and how can we say, the amount of interest I got from just having a bit of a move round was unbelievable. Hence, that is how the club started. So in 1991, I started up the boxing club. I was known as the Olympic Amateur Boxing Club at the time, and I was then getting myself back in shape and to establish the club. I actually started boxing again after an 8 or 9 year layoff. Forwarding from there, in 1995 I moved into this present building, the one I'm in now, and come January 2016 I've actually been going 25 years, so I've actually been in this building now 20 years. And how that come about was, obviously I created a lot of interest through started boxing again myself and getting the club established. I was approached by the guy who actually owns this building, which is a listed building, and by way of sponsorship, he's let me take this building on, obviously at a cheaper rate. Hence his sponsorship gives us plenty of backing, and this is where the name change come in. And from 1995, I was then known as Ashton Albion ABC. Involved in the club at this present time, I've got my main man now, Darren Louis, as everybody knows him. He's been with me 14 years now. I've mainly always been a one-man band, but once Louis jumped on board, it's given me a bit more freedom. I can sort of organise things a bit better. So he's been a major asset. I've also just recently put 2 lads through the coaches courses in the last 2 years, namely Aidan Crinion, who unfortunately was advised to stop boxing. He's come through the club, advised to stop boxing because of a spine injury that could have led to a serious injury later on in life. And just recently I've got Lee Sharpie Oldham, who's just actually turned professional, and I'm sure Lee will be doing some interviews in the not too distant future with him. So they're both on board now, so that gives me a bit more freedom as well to get, because I'm also an international referee and judge, which I've been doing since 2007. So I can sort of leave a few things to the likes of Louis and Sharpie and Critch, so I can get on with my refereeing and judging, etc. I must say that since I've started, I've produced some decent kids, some champions, namely my first one being a lad called Carl Quinlan from Droylsden, who managed to win a schoolboy title in his first season and then went on to win a further 2 East Lancashire titles and 1 national schoolboy title. Moving on from there, I then had a kid called, the one after him was John Cares, I believe, who also won a couple of schoolboy titles and then went on to win a junior ABA title the same year Andy Morris won his, which was down in Margate, I believe. That was a fair track. Unfortunately, Johnny decided to move on after that, but that's ancient history. Another kid he had that won a national title was a kid called Matthew Kerr, who won the national novices at 16, 17-year-old, I believe. A good southpaw, strong kid. I also had a kid called Derek Brewster, a top schoolboy. Unfortunately, while out on doing his road work, got hit by a Range Rover, which snapped his femur bone and gave him he got a bit of a crack in his skull. He did come back, had 1 bout, won it, but unfortunately, I knew he wasn't right, and I think he knew he wasn't right, and unfortunately, he walked away. But he was a kid with a lot of potential. Moving on from that, I had Lewis lad, young Richie Lewis. A lot of people probably know him for the right or wrong reasons. Was known for being a bit of a fiery head like myself in the early days, but could bang a bit and had a lot of potential. Went on to start turning pro with Bobby Rimmer. Unfortunately, family things got in the way, and at this moment in time, I think he's put his career on hold. But he's only 21, so he's got plenty of time ahead of him. Coming up to the present day, recently, I had a young lad called Alex Clegg, who won a schoolboy title and went on to box for England. A lad called Zach Miller. They're both not here anymore for personal reasons or gym reasons, shall we say. But I wish them well in the future careers. I believe Alex is now at Jimmy Egan's and doing well, and I know Jimmy and Steve will look after him there anyway. So on the refereeing side, I've gone up to a major level. I believe I'm one of maybe 2 or 3 that have actually done three ABA finals, namely being at the York Hall in Bethnal Green and at the Echo Arena in Liverpool. And I've refereed some top kids, your Fowlers, your Maxwells. I've seen all the kids coming through, and it's a buzz for the game. Obviously, within the area, this will continue. For as long as I'm in the game, I'll be able to see these kids that are coming through and progress. Well, looking around the area now, the kids coming through, you've got this young Jimmy Kelly is the one that I'd be keeping my eye on, because this kid's come right under the radar after being injured in the amateurs, and he's now fighting for a world title in the next week or 2. I believe he won 5 national titles as a schoolboy come junior, and then after getting hand injuries, wasn't seen for a while. He's now come back in on the pro scene, and believe me, he's a kid to watch, because a lot of people have not took any notice of him, and I think he might upset a few people in the next week or 2.
Who else on the scene do you think?
The kids I believe to watch now coming through is the kid from Preston that's just turned pro, which is young Fitzgerald. Refed him a few times, won an ABA title, Commonwealth Games title. Kofi Yates, young Macaulay McGowan, 2 good kids coming through.
Jack Flatley's one of them.
Jack Flatley's another kid. I've refed him many a time, many a scrap.
In fact, you referred them 2 in the North West final, wasn't it?
I've refed him in a couple of finals actually. Yeah, and he's another kid that's going to go a long way. But in my opinion, I thought he'd just nicked the ABA final last year, but it went against him, unfortunately. But he put up a good scrap.
Yeah. So future's bright then.
Future's bright for Manchester. It's looking, like I say, we may be just that little bit on the map, but I believe we're going to take over the world, because there's some top kids coming through from not just Greater Manchester, but the North West in general.
And lads coming through your club, I know you're rebuilding process.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of rebuilding at the moment. Like I say, we had a bit of a clear out. Actually, I was contemplating wrapping it last year, 12 months ago, and I got somebody jumped on board via way of sponsorship and raising money for the club, namely Alison Hawley and Easy B and Wheezy. She's actually managed to raise us just short of £7,000 in less than 6 months, which has enabled me to buy a minibus. I've had a clear out of the gym, I've got an influx of new kids, and I've got my mojo back, shall we say.
Wayne, it's been great talking to you, mate.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Take care.
And you, thanks, pal.